What's up everybody? Welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new. You came right in time if you're new because we are doing Vlogmas. So welcome back to Vlogmas. So today's video, I thought I would show you all how to do a little bit of hand lettering or calligraphy. I am kind of self-taught, so I wouldn't call myself a calligraphist, if that's even a word. I don't even know. But I do hand lettering. I feel like I'm pretty good at hand lettering, and I thought it would be a fun process to share with you guys because I think anybody can learn. So first I'm going to show you the products I have that I'm going to be using, so the markers and then the paper, because I'm using cardstock to show you guys today how to make these cute little handmade tags. So I cut out a bunch of tags. I just like measured, drew on them with a pencil, cut them out, and then I punched a hole in them. So now I have homemade gift tags that I'm going to hand letter. And here's an example. I have this one that I'm going to use for potpourri because Angela and I make potpourri to give people. So I will show you how I made those today, and I'm going to tell you my supplies before we get started. So the first thing I used was the paper. I didn't just use printer paper. You could potentially get away with that, but I decided to use cardstock instead. So I used a 90-pound cardstock paper, and I got it on Amazon, so I'll link it in the description below. It just looks like this, and it's a normal 8.5 by 11 printer size paper, but it's just a little bit heavier and a little bit thicker so that it doesn't, you know, bend or rip or flop down. They're like very structured. That's the paper I used. Then the next thing I have to show you guys is all the markers we're going to be using in today's video. I have some markers and some pens. I just put them all in here, but there's actually 3 different products going on here. So I'm going to look them up on my Amazon to show you guys. Everything's on Amazon. By the way, the paper pack was like $12.99 I think for a printer paper stack, which I know is kind of a lot for that kind of size of paper, but it lasts a really long time if you're only using it for creative projects and you're not actually just printing on it or writing on it. Okay, the next 2 things I got are my zebra pens. So these are recommended by my friend at work, Callie. So these are the Zebra brand midliners, and I got 2 packs. So I got the Zebra midliner double-ended highlighter variety pack. This one had 25 colors in it, so this is what I got. Right now it looks like it's $26.86, which is how much I paid for it. And what's cool about these is that one end has the like chisel tip that really does look and work like a highlighter. It's how I did these highlighted words on my design. But how I did the bow was with the other end, which is just like a regular fine tip kind of marker. So these are great, and I, like I said, got the 25 color assorted pack, which I will put in the description. And then with that I also got the Zebra pen natural palette set, which just has these colors. I will show you, and they're more of the neutrals instead of like all the bright colors. So the neutral pack comes with all these neutral colors, and then it also comes with 2 of these markers, which are a different brand. These are called Click Art, and these are a very fine tip writing marker. So those are really good for writing small words or doing details, which we are going to do today in this video. So that is kind of like the wrap up of all of my markers. And then the other thing I wanted to show you guys is the pens. Before I move on though, the neutrals pack that I was telling you about with the 2 Click Art markers, it's the Neutral Vintage 10 pack, and it's $9.90 on Amazon right now as I'm looking at it. This is what it looks like, and I will link it below. The last thing I want to show you, these are like some of my favorite pens. I bought like a big pack on Amazon. These are the Pilot Varsity pen. So it's called the Pilot Varsity Disposable Fountain Pen with black ink on Amazon. It looks like they're sold out. I'll still link them in case you want to look for them elsewhere. But these have more of a like true calligraphy tip, if you guys can see that. So it has that true like metal chisel tip with the black ink, and I will show you guys how those look as far as writing goes too. So that's the haul of markers and paper that we're going to be using today. And like I said, I'm going to show you how to make the gift tags, and then I will also show you just how to do some lettering. I'll see if I have something laying around here. Here's an example. I was writing some names down because I was making tags for our stockings. So I will also be showing you how to do stuff like this. So I guess let's get started. Okay, you guys, I have my paper set up. I got my little extra light on so that you guys can see because it gets dark early these days. And I still needed to film this, but I think the first thing to practice with learning hand lettering and calligraphy is your alphabet, because that way you have practice on the letters and you have all the tools you need to make different words, really. So we're going to do the alphabet first, and I'm going to kind of show you basic suggestions that I have on how to write your letters, or the tips I have on how to hold your pen, that kind of stuff, to make it look really nice. So first of all, you can do this like with print, like just writing normal print, but if you do it with cursive or like script, it's going to be easier because your letters flow together, and that tends to look better and be a little bit easier. So I'm going to do most of mine in cursive today. So I was trying to think of how to explain this to you guys, and I think the best way is to tell you how to do it is you're going to hold the chisel tip like I'm holding it right here. I hope you guys can see it. So this is the shorter end of the chisel, more towards my hand, and this is the longer end of the chisel tip away from my hand. That's kind of how I'm holding it. Can you guys see that? And so when you put it down on paper and you actually want to start making your letters, you're going to keep the chisel parallel with the top of your paper, right? So you can see here's it lined up with the top of my paper. We're going to keep it parallel the whole time. So when you write an A, keep the marker parallel the whole way. Okay? That's the way I would suggest doing it. Now, I'm going to show you what it looks like if you do it without keeping it parallel. If you don't keep it parallel and you're moving your marker, you could end up with something a little bit different. Or if you're holding your marker with the chisel parallel to the side of your paper, it's going to look more like this, which also doesn't look like calligraphy. So we're going to stick with the first one that I showed you, which is holding it parallel to the top of your paper. And you're just going to want to practice a few times to get the feel for it. Once you feel like you're finally getting the hang of holding the pen in that way, you're just going to go ahead and write your entire alphabet so you can get practice with each letter. Okay guys, there you go. You see I wrote my entire alphabet all in lowercase letters, following that grip of holding my marker, chisel tip, parallel to the top of the page. So now I'm going to do the same thing, but we're going to practice capital letters. I'm just going to switch colors so you guys can clearly see. But I find that you tend to use lowercase letters more just because you usually only capitalize a word when it's the first letter of the word. So you're using these letters more, so I tend to practice them more. But we're going to do capital letters as well. And this is where you can get a little creative and try to make a statement, or you can keep it simple. So this is what my capital letters look like. Okay guys, there you go. You have my alphabet. So the best way that you can get used to your alphabet and what your letters are going to be looking like is just to practice it over and over and write it again and again. I've already practiced my alphabet a lot, so I'm going to move on to the next thing that I would suggest trying. I'm just going to use the back of my page as to not waste as much paper as I would if I got a new one. But I'm going to grab a marker and we're just going to try some words. So you could try your name, you could try to write a quote, different things like that, but this is going to help you practice connecting your letters together. And like I said, keep that chisel tip nice and parallel to the top at all times. That's really important. And I'm going to show you a really cool technique to make this look really polished and finished as well. Okay guys, obviously you all can take a lot more time with each step that I'm showing you, but the next thing I'm going to show is, like I said, how to make this look a little more polished, a little more finished, and it's one of my favorite techniques that I've been using recently, which is to make these highlighters. Like we've been using a chisel tip kind of highlighter for this. It's to kind of make this look like it's a shadow to a word written in a different color. So I'm going to show you what I mean. I'm going to write the word snowflake, because it's kind of themed to it being very cold right now. So I'll show you guys. Keep that chisel nice and aligned with the top, like I said. Okay guys, so you can see my word here, and I wrote it exactly how I told you, following that rule I told you. But now we're going to take a fine tip marker, and we're going to do something a little bit different. Let me see if I can zoom in for you. Alright you guys, I zoomed in a lot, but here you can see my word up close, and I'm going to take my black fine tip and I'm going to follow my marker lines, but I'm going to stay on the left side always. So you're going to see what I mean. We're going to start here at the top. We're going to stay on the left side of my mark, And then at the top, we have to cross over to get to the left side again. Follow that all the way down, and then again, cross over at the bottom to get to the left side. And there you go. Now it looks like the highlighter is actually a shadow of the word written in black. So we're going to keep going. Left side. As you go down, stroke left side. Here you're going to bring it up on the left side. And again, you have to cross over to keep it on the left side. This can take a lot of practice if you've never done it before. Just keep reminding yourself in your head, I'm staying on the left side, and that can really help. But I'll show you that once it's done, it looks really, really cute. There you go. That is how you follow with a, fine tip marker and make it look really cute. So that's been my new favorite technique. I'm going to zoom in again, and we're going to work on the next word. Alright you guys, Angela gave me the word coffee. So next we're going to write the word coffee. We're just going to do the same exact technique that we just did. So I'm just going to use brown to stay on theme, like this little kind of brown color. We're going to go right underneath snowflake. We're going to keep the chisel tip, like I told you to hold it, parallel to the top of the page, and we're going to write coffee first. Sometimes words with double letters like this end up looking kind of funky to me because it's really hard to make two letters right next to each other look the exact same. But that's also kind of the beauty of it, is that it never looks the same and it gives its own, character. So now we're going to take the black pen and we're going to stay to the left. So here we go. Start on the left. And again, when you're staying to the left of these letters, you're also following the path that you used to write it. So while you're doing it, really think about the way you wrote it. So we started here and then we went down, so we're going to switch to the left. We came back up into the O, switch to the left. We went down, switch to the left, come back up, switch to the left, and loop around. And I always recommend, if you need to take a break while you're writing, to stop at a point where the lines meet. So you can see there I finished the O, but it didn't go through. That makes it easier when you put your pen back down to make it look like you didn't take a break. You want to keep it looking connected. There's coffee, written the same way, traced the same way, and you can see how really nice and finished it looks when you use this technique. However, not everybody is going to want to buy these markers or have these markers, so I also thought I would show you how to do this with just a normal pen or pencil, because you can do it that way too. It just takes a little longer, so we're going to do that now. We're going to try using the varsity pen. I don't know if I've used this one, so we might have to scribble it a couple times to see if we can get the ink to come out. Oh, it came out. So I'm going to go ahead and write the word cafe. So this, you're going to hold it in this way so that the top metal part is facing upward, right? And then the part that's touching down is this black part. And I'm just going to write in cursive the word cafe. So first step is just to write in cursive. Okay, so now comes the more tedious part when you're using a regular pen or this varsity pen. Even though the gel rolls really smooth and it looks really good, and I do think the pens are totally worth it, it's definitely not magic calligraphy. You have to do the work. So this is the key with doing calligraphy kind of by hand. So what you need to pay a lot of attention to is the upstrokes and the downstrokes. So when you write a C, this part is an upstroke, this part is a downstroke, and then it comes back up. When you're doing calligraphy by hand, on an upstroke, you're going to leave it thin, but the downstroke should be thicker. So we're going to add this space, basically, for us to fill in. We're just going to color it in. And it's going to look really weird at first, but it does come together once you put together a word. So then I kind of like to just trace it, just to kind of draw it all in. And that's how you would do a C, okay? We're going to go back to the word cafe, and we're going to start filling it in based on upstrokes and downstrokes. So I'll even add a second version just to illustrate it for you guys too. On the first one, I'm going to illustrate upstrokes and downstrokes, and then on the second one, we're going to fill it in based on that. So, starting with the C starts with an up, goes down, it goes back up. Here's where it's going to start looking a little weird. This goes up towards the stick, then it comes back down, and goes back up to the top, down again. Okay, there you go. You guys can see all my little arrows. I know it looks very confusing, but we're going to talk through it as I do the word that I wrote here. So, upstrokes, I'm going to trace them, but we're going to leave them thinner. So, upstroke thin, downstroke, room to make it thicker, upstroke thin, upstroke still thin. Downstroke thicker, upstroke thin, downstroke thicker, upstroke thin, down is thicker, up is thin, this would still be up, down is thicker, and up. Okay, now we've traced the whole word and we've made our spaces, so we're just going to fill them in. And now you have hand done some calligraphy on the word cafe, you guys. Look at that. It looks so cute. So this just adds a little bit of a flair, a little bit of fun to some handwriting. So that would be how you do it with a varsity pen, a normal pen, a pencil. It's just practicing your up and down strokes. So like I said, up is always thin, down is always going to be thick. I'm going to go through you guys and write the full alphabet with my varsity pen so that you can see what it looks like to do every letter by hand. So I will speed this up in the video, but I will also show you at the end so that if you're practicing at home and you want to compare what your letters look like, or if you're confused on an up or down stroke, you will be able to pause the video and compare it to mine. So I'm going to go ahead and do every letter. Here's my imperfect but still very pretty alphabet. You can see in places like on my letter R, for example, that there's tiny imperfections in places where it's just not exactly perfect, but that, like I said, is the beauty of it and also totally expected, especially when you're practicing and first learning. So just practice over and over. I feel like the secret to hand lettering and calligraphy and having beautiful handwriting really is practice. It's not just something that comes naturally. It might come easier to some people than others to learn, but practicing is really the true secret in keeping it up and making it look really good. So I'm going to move on to do the full alphabet with capital letters, and yeah, that's what they're looking like. And again, all I did here was I wrote the letter in cursive first, and then after I wrote the letter in cursive first, I followed my upstrokes and left them thin, and I followed my downstrokes and I made them thicker. And that's all it is. Alright y'all, here we go. Here is my imperfect, all different sizes, all different shapes, letters for just a hand-drawn, like DIY calligraphy with a regular pen, slash with the pens I have are too. The fountain pens are really nice, but you can do this with a normal pen. I did my lowercase letters and all my capital letters, again, thin upstrokes and thicker downstrokes, and that's what you need to know. Then the next step is really just writing a word and putting the pieces together. So I feel like I gave you guys the basics, and now you can take them and go practice, whether it's with markers or highlighters or pens or pencils or literally anything you have that you can write with. You can try calligraphy at home and try to make something beautiful. So like I said, I was making these custom tags. So I said I was going to make them in the video, but the video has gotten quite long, I would guess. So I'm not going to do them all with you guys, but I thought I would just show you again what I did. For these, I decided not to do calligraphy on them. I just did cursive. I actually used a skinny like marker to write holiday potpourri on it, and then I used the highlighter end of my marker to just draw a line right over it, and I really like that effect too. It keeps it nice and simple. Doing hand calligraphy on all of these would take me a really long time because we're making a lot of potpourri, so I just put the instructions on the back, and I think they turned out beautifully. You can also do them as gift tags. So this is just cardstock paper, like I said, and I just cut them out myself, and you just write on them and it looks really special, and it's not a lot of extra effort, so that's something really cool that you can do. Anyway, you guys, that's it for today's video. I'm gonna let you go. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something valuable, and learn something you can take away from this video in doing hand lettering or calligraphy. So if you try it, let me know, please. Send me a photo. I would love that. That would be so cute. But yeah, definitely let me know if you guys have any other video suggestions, and I will see you all next time. Bye.